What if the reason your violin doesn't sound the way you want it to isn't talent, isn't your instrument, it isn't how long you've been playing? What if it's something you can change starting today? Have you ever put down your instrument, you just finished a practice session, or maybe you got offline and you were doing a lesson or just trying to play a song that you love, and you felt like, dang, like my tone is scratchy, it's thin, or the sound was choked. You weren't happy with it because it didn't sound like what you heard in your head? What about when someone walks in the room while you're playing? Don't you lose a little bit of your edge? It's like something happens and all of a sudden something that sounded great doesn't sound as great. You're not getting the same sound? Wouldn't it be a game changer if you understood exactly why your tone does what it does, when it does, and if you had a way to change it anytime you needed to? And what if I told you that tone is not a mystery, it's not talent, it's physics, and you can work with physics? Would you like to know how? If we haven't met, I'm EP Archer, and I help committed adults over 30 who play the violin create beautiful tone and unshakable confidence without compromising who they are or the music they love. And Music Rebels Rising is a podcast for musicians and songwriters who are ready to start sharing meaningful work with confidence. So by the time I was age 34, keep in mind, I'm in graduate school. I've already played for 17 years. I've already spent over $100,000 on my education. I've had training, private lessons, orchestras, chamber groups, degrees, and I still didn't know the secret. It wasn't until I met a couple of professors up in Boulder, we'll call them J and B, and a colleague named Kylan who gave me a better apparatus, a scaffolding for understanding the frame of my left hand and the geometric angles, the physics, the math of my bow, my right hand and my left hand coordination. No one had ever told me what tone was. I mean, I remember in my undergraduate, I learned about pronation and supination, and I learned a little bit about how to, relax and leverage that. And I think a lot of the methods out there today, they really are bow heavy. They focus on your bow technique, like the Strum Bowing Academy and the Figure 8. And there's lots of places where you can get a great method that focuses on your bow, and that's awesome. But the physics aren't just with the bow. They're with the instrument and the strings and coordinating the left hand and the bow together. And once I understood those physics, it was a gift and everything changed. For the first time in my life, I felt like I could actually relax while I was playing. There's another Master Suzuki teacher up in Boulder, and she does this work on fingerboard geography, which is amazing. And that planted a seed too. And I've always been someone who plays other instruments, who sings. It's like the music is inside of me and I have to let it out. And so because of that being a part of who I am, I discovered aligning singing with violin playing as a huge benefit to increasing tone and also to understanding resonance, vibration, and physics. It doesn't mean you have to be an amazing singer or opera singer or take singing lessons. It's just the idea of feeling that vibration and really listening to the point where you're able to recreate sound with your body. And if you do it with your voice first and then you do it with your instruments, woo, girl, it's awesome. So when I was looking at these shapes, instead of thinking of them as a color pattern or pattern A, pattern B, a label that didn't really have a meaning sonically or, physically in my body, I started associating them with solfeggio. And that turned a corner. And that bridge between singing and creating sound and resonance is exactly what somatic resonance for violin is built on. We go deeper on these methods that have been created to help you, and we leverage adult technique, because when you're an adult, you have an advantage that you don't have when you're a young person. You have perspective, you have awareness, you have a body and wealth of knowledge in many subjects, and that synchronization is gold. So after working on this, I was introduced to the Feldenkrais, the Alexander method, Paul Roland's research, and everything came together. It wasn't teaching me something new, but it was confirming what I'd already felt in my body and what these master teachers had shared with me that I wish I knew when I was younger, but I was so glad to learn at an age where I could quickly synthesize it and put it into practice immediately. That's what good science does. It names what the great teachers already know, and it proves it for us. And aren't we lucky to have this scientific backup for what we need to do to create sound? Instead of it being this nebulous thing of like talent, it's just like orange that grows on a tree, and maybe I'll pluck the right orange. And if I have the right one, then maybe I can make it. No. It's not about any of that. It's just about science and math and physics and consistency and being able to feel things in our body and connect to them. Think of it like the acoustics in a concert hall. The hall is either going to amplify the sound, help it to ring, or it's going to deaden the sound, cut off the vibration. Your body is that concert hall. Your fingers, your wrist, your arm, your combination of left and right technique. Same notes, different body, completely different sound. And every method book written for violin was designed for children. Let's be honest, those are methods that assume a body with no accumulated tension, no 9-to-5 desk posture, no old habits, no tapes playing in their head about what they can and can't do yet. But the good news is that is going to work in your favor. You just need to know what to address. We're not addressing potential or talent or a specific method. We are leveraging our adult ability to synthesize with what works with physics and science and math. And that is a lot of words. Like if I was going to say that to one of my 10-year-old students, that's not going to fly, right? There's like one thing we can focus on. But as adults, we can have this more global awareness and lock in to a really exciting way of practicing. One where we don't have to point the finger of blame at ourselves. And the scratch test, when you're scratching on your fiddle and you're digging into those strings and you make a very brach type of sound, it tells you exactly what your bow arm is doing. When it's wispy and ghost-like, these things are not failures, they're data, they're sonic information, so we know exactly what to correct. So start getting happy because beautiful tone is not a gift some people are born with and others are born without. It's just the physical result of specific movement. Your bow weight, your shoulder relaxing, your bow speed, the contact point, the sounding point, the bow hold working together on an open string. And when those line up, the violin sings. And when they don't, it scratches, it whispers, it becomes a ghost. It's not about your talent. It's just about the physics. And physics you can learn. So here's how you can apply it today in 5 minutes or less. Grab your violin, pick up your bow. We're going to focus only on open strings. Play one open G or D, A, E, you pick your favorite string. What we're going to do is a bow at the middle, gently back and forth, a medium speed. You go too slow, it gets stuck. You go too fast, we have those overtones ringing out. Keep it at a nice medium speed and relax. This data is your starting point. You might get a scratch right away. You might get something wispy right away. You might notice your angle. That's your data. Write it down. Take a note of it. Now let's play it again. Relax your shoulder. Let the weight of your arm drop. Have your hand as almost suspended by a thread and pronate towards the stick, rotating your radius towards the stick, staying relaxed, staying in the feeling, and now draw the bow down and up. Even 30 seconds of this mindful practice will give you information to improve and take the next step. It's the beginning of a tone shift. And once you get it on an open string, we add a finger, we feel the buzz, we look at the left hand apparatus and we connect the two. Because you can practice your tone all day long on an open string, and if you can't do it when you're playing something rapid or something with fingers, then you're gonna be bummed out, because that's where the music is. That's where the really cool parts that you want to play are, and we will get to those. So this arc about violin tone is going to change how you hear your own playing. Because once you know tone is physics, you stop judging yourself and you start solving problems. Every scratchy note, every heavy note, every thin note, everything wispy, every note that's almost right is just feedback. Your instrument's talking to you. And this week, we're learning how to listen. You're not a struggling adult that's trying to play the violin. You're not a struggling violinist. You are an adult player who hasn't been given the right information yet. That changes now. If this hits home, if any of what I just said sounds like the conversation you've been having with yourself for years, you don't have to figure this out alone. Come join us in our free community, Violin Unlocked. Beautiful tone and confidence. It's free. It's on Facebook. It's full of committed adult players just like you doing this work. The link is in the show notes, and your best music is on the other side. I'll see you there.